Good morning. Over the next several days, we're going to be plotting earthquakes. We don't have earthquakes around here. Some parts of the country do and some don't, and we're going to look into why that is. And we're also going to look at the different sizes of earthquakes. And to give us a feel for the patterns and how things play out across the whole world, we're going to map them. And so each morning, I will look up the earthquakes that occurred in the previous 24 hours, and I will post them to you. We're going to be putting them on this map. The first thing, we want to be able to separate the different sizes of earthquakes. Now, I'm only even going to tell you about ones that are over 4.5 on the magnitude scale, and I'm rounding off, so there'll be a lot of them that are fives. That would be a 4.5 to 5.4. If it was a 5.6 to a 6.4, we'll call it a 6, and if it's over a 6.5, then we'll call it a 7. Hopefully, we don't have any 8s because 8s are devastating. There's only been a handful of earthquakes ever that were over 9s. There was one in Alaska in 1964. There was one right about here in 2004 that created a tsunami that killed 250,000 people. So hopefully there won't be any major ones while we're doing this, but if there is, we'll document it. So first thing I want to do is we're going to use different size dots to symbolize different size quakes. So I'm going to make a key over here. And I'm going to say if it's a 4 magnitude, I'm going to put a dot that big. If it's a 5 mag, I'll put a bigger dot and make them enough of a difference that you can tell. And I screwed up already. We're not going to do 4s. So there's only going to be 5, 6s, and maybe we'll get a 7. And for a 7, we'll make a dot that big. They don't have to be dots. It could be triangles, hearts, moons, whatever. Just have a size gradient. So that at a glance, we know, oh, that one's smaller than the other one. So the quakes that occurred yesterday, I should point out that, for example, today, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of them, 5 of them that occurred in the same spot. That's pretty common to have clusters of earthquakes. There's the original one, and then there's aftershocks. Notice the size. This one was a little bit bigger. It was a 6.2 to be specific. So let's just jump into this. Our first one was in the Tonga Islands. You don't have to record that. That's just a little bit of extra information. It was a magnitude 5, so we're going to put a dot of that size. And it happened at 16 degrees south latitude, 174 west longitude. 16 south, there's 20, half of that would be 10. So 16 would be right about there. And 174 west, 160. This is where it gets a little weird. Because the Earth is round, it wraps around over here and comes up over here. So 174 west is kind of right on this line. Actually, let's put it over here because it's closer to this would be 180 east or west. It doesn't matter. So 174 west is right about where that island is. There's already an island there. I bet that's the Tonga Islands. You have to be a little bit careful of that. Even though it's 174 west, it's over on this side because it wraps around. This ends at 160. That would be about 170, and then it goes to 180. Hopefully there won't be too many of those confusing ones. Also, I might as well point out that it goes 0, 20, 40, 60, 80. Santa lives at 90 north, so they cut off the top, probably to keep Santa's location secret. They also cut off the bottom, and they actually cut off even more of the bottom. If we have one this far south, there aren't a lot of earthquakes in Antarctica. There aren't a lot of earthquakes at the poles, period. So it probably won't be an issue, but realize if we get something like 87 south, well, that's actually probably even off this map. So we'll have to deal with that. We did the first one, second one, 2 degrees south, so it's just a little bit south of the equator, and 129 east. East goes in this direction, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 129 would be just about halfway between 120 and 140. And 2 degrees south, it's right about there in Indonesia. And that also was a 5, so we'll put that smaller dot. I'm noticing my dots aren't showing up. It might be beneficial to you to use a color. Like from now on, I think I'm going to use a red pen to do these, so they'll show up. You could use a colored pencil, but don't use a color that, don't use white or yellow or something that you can't hardly see. Next one would be 7 south, 125 east. So south, there's 0, there's 20, 10 would be halfway, 7 would be about right there, and 125 east. So there's 120, that would be 130, 125 would be right about in there. Yeah, see, I'm having a hard time seeing my dots. So use a color that'll work out better for you. Plot all of these today, and then wait till tomorrow, and we'll have new ones. Have a good day.